Hi, welcome to Sweet Dreams Wellness Travel. I am Barbara Tuckett, your host, and the owner of Sweet Dreams Travel. I am a wellness travel specialist. I believe that our mind, body, and spirit all play into our well-being, and I create travel experiences which improve your wellness so that you return from your vacation with more health, more happiness, and more connection, both with those you've traveled with and also with your destination. In these episodes, I explore travel and wellness experiences, giving you ideas and recommendations, and also interviewing people who have firsthand experience of the places where you may want to go next. Welcome, let's get started. Hello, this is episode number 28. Have a universally great time in Orlando. And we are featuring my good friend and client, Shae Gines. Hi, Shae, welcome.
Hi.
So excited to be talking to you today. So Shae just returned from Orlando and an amazing trip to Universal Studios. So
Yes.
We are going to jump in and just get started and talk about your vacation. So first of all, let's talk about what aspect of wellness do you think that this trip helped you with?
It was really important for my youngest son and my husband to reform a bond because my son has special needs because his dad works out. Sam works out of town. He's gone all the time, which, poses some problems sometimes when you plan our trips for us. But they needed to reconnect as father and son. And so that was something that was really important. And they were really able to do this on the trip. And then, of course, the exercise, 60 miles in 4 days was like, I don't have to exercise for at least 4 years. So I think I'm good.
You've got it. You've got it covered. Well, that is so nice. That is so fabulous. Let's talk about planning your trip. I guess explain like who you're going with. You already talked about your son and your husband, but talk about your family a little bit and kind of the dynamic of that. And then why you wanted to go and just what did you want to get out of it and the reason for the trip and all of that.
Okay. So the reason for the trip so we have 8 kids, as you know, and Lincoln has really been struggling through 2020, and we've had some pretty significant, like behavioral issues and things that are just popping up with all of this unknown. And, everybody's mental health has kind of gone crazy, but it really affected him in school. And so he did really, really, really well in 2021 for the school year, and he tried really hard. And so my husband and I wanted to reward him. And so we took him on a trip special just for him and with mom and dad, and just for all of us to really go enjoy each other's company. And that's why we chose it. We originally were going to do Disney. But then after looking over lots of information that you had sent us, because you're fabulous at sending information, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
We really decided that maybe Disney wasn't a great fit. And so we started looking at Orlando. And I'm really happy that we did. The Orlando experience, obviously we've been to Disney. And I think Disney is wonderful. And I personally love Disney, but the Orlando experience was completely different, and all in good ways. And it was more for his age group, where at Disney you see a lot of little tiny kids, and at Universal we didn't have that. And the rides were more grown up, and they were more fitting to an older child. So we really enjoyed that.
That's awesome. That is great. And I love your reason for going. I love the whole thing. So let's talk.
My other kids don't love it. They're like,
no. Like, what? What about us?
Yeah.
All good. Sometimes that one child just needs to know that they are super important right now.
Yep.
All right. So let's jump in, talk about the flights. Was there anything specific that you noticed that went well, that was, unexpected, or was everything just expected and normal and good?
Yeah, everything with the flights was pretty normal, routine. We've still got the COVID restrictions on flights and stuff like that, but I didn't notice anything that stood out, other than my husband has pre-check, and Lincoln's ticket was under him. So Lincoln and him got to go right through security, and I had to go through.
You had to wait.
I had to take off the shoes and put the bag in, and you know,
Yes.
but that's normal when I fly with Sam. He always takes advantage of his pre-check. He's like, I paid for it.
Right. Right.
um, but I mean, the flights were just, I mean, they were great. Everything just normal as expected. So,
Okay. And you're still, of course, masking in airports and on flights and everything.
yes, yes, they still really require that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What about, so once you landed, then you went to pick up a rental car, and tell me about the rental car experience. I've been talking a little bit lately about how difficult it is to get rental cars these days and how it's kind of an issue. So tell us about that.
Yeah, we weren't expecting issues because we're just so used to just hopping on, grab your car and go. And that definitely wasn't the case. And I'm not sure if it's because we traveled over holiday weekend or what it was, but we waited in line for over 2 hours to get our rental car.
Yeah.
And they only had 2 staff members that were checking people out. They like, I mean, it could have gone a lot smoother. The rental car, the rental car itself was fine, but the process to get the car was, and the people weren't kind. Like they were really rude to people that were waiting in line. And, but I also imagined that because all the people in line were frustrated, they probably weren't being kind either. So,
Right. But that's a little disappointing and frustrating, especially right at the beginning of your vacation where you just landed and you're just excited about being there. So,
well, and we didn't get there till midnight. So by the time we got to our airport or we got to our hotel, it was 3 o'clock in the morning.
yeah.
And so it was just a really exhausting time to be standing in line when you're hungry, you're tired, you just were on a 5-hour flight. Like, it just,
Yes.
it didn't like break my trip, but it was a little bit discouraging to be like, okay, now we have to wait in line for forever.
Right.
But at least they didn't they still had our car. They weren't like out of cars.
Exactly. So definitely a bright spot.
Yeah.
Okay. So after that, then you drove to the resort, and let's talk about the resort for just a minute. It was called the Universal Lowe's Royal Pacific.
Yes.
And tell us about the location of that and kind of why you decided on that resort and everything.
So the location, it's in Orlando. I don't know.
Right. Right. But in relation to the Universal Studios.
It's very close. So they actually have a water shuttle that is free to anybody that stays inside their hotels, and you can go right over to the Universal Studios parks. There's 2 different parks. But you can also just walk over to the other one, to the adventure park if you want. But the shuttle was a really fun experience because my little guy loves water, and he thought it was really fun that he could sit on this boat and he could have him pull the horn, and they go and just go through this water, and they color the water and it's green, and I mean they have palm trees. I mean, and they brought in sand, and it's just it was really beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
We really liked that. The resort itself has quite a few restaurants. We learned that there's one in particular called Jake's Cowboy. That one, when you call them and you ask if you can make a reservation, they'll tell you that they don't make reservations. And then when you go downstairs, they'll tell you, do you have a reservation? And we're like, we just called you.
We tried.
Yeah. So you basically just have to go downstairs and put your name on a list and then go back up. And they'll tell you how long it will be.
So the reservation is in person. It's not
a
call on the phone.
Yes. The other restaurants is like where you do like your breakfast buffet. And then they have like more Asian food. We didn't eat dinner in there. We just had the breakfast. And the breakfast, like, I guess I will tell you, I mean, I think this is pretty standard. The buffet is $25 per person. But if you order just regular breakfast from them, like if you ordered an omelet and a side of bacon and an orange juice, it's going to be like $36.
Okay.
So it's more cost effective for you to actually do the buffet. But it was really good food. It was really good food.
Good.
Then another one, they have one that's called the Orchid, and they have sushi and a bar. And I mean, it was really delightful.
Okay.
So we really enjoyed that one. And then the amenities inside the hotel, the website says that it has a spa. And I kind of sort of tried to find it, but it was late at night and I was tired. So I didn't experience the spa, but the website says it has one. I wanted to go, but never really put forth the effort. And the pool was great. They have poolside services where they bring you, like you can order their full menu from a restaurant. Like the staff was really friendly, like super duper amazingly friendly. Everybody was kind. All the shops inside the hotel were great. Like literally, like I really enjoyed the hotel that we chose.
You were
And we literally chose it just because it said waterfront view, which was a pool because, you know, it's Orlando, it's landlocked. So, but it was still a pretty view.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's a nice property.
Yes, it's really pretty.
All right. So let's get into kind of the next part, which is still kind of talking about the resort, but also talking about the Universal Studios experience itself. One of the big selling points for that resort is that because they're a Universal property, they give you some really great perks when you stay there.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that and then just kind of move into like your experience in the parks and kind of how you navigated that.
So the one is the water shuttle. Like I know it seems so frivolous, but that was something that was really enjoyed by my family. And on the way home, you don't have to walk that extra mile.
You just jump on that.
That's nice. But even when you do walk, like the property that they've got you going through to get over to the park or back from the park, it's a really beautiful walk. It really is.
Okay.
It's landscaped very beautifully. So, but as far as the other perks, Fast Pass. Yeah, I don't understand how anybody could go to the park without a Fast Pass. And I don't think they call it a Fast Pass. I think they call it something else. And it also gives you early admission into the park, which I will just be 100% honest, was useless. You can get early into the park, but none of the rides are open.
Yeah.
So you can't even get in line. So you basically and it's only Universal Studios that's open. You can't get into the adventure park.
Right. It's the original Universal, not the one that has Harry Potter and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was kind of, all you do is walk around for an extra hour, but you can't get in any rides. You can't really do anything.
Okay. So that is good for people to know, like if you're getting it just for the early admission, then not so much worth it.
No, it wasn't. It seemed like a great idea, you know, but.
Right. Sounds like it would be awesome, but.
Yeah. And I know the Fast Passes they sell in the park for that weekend specifically, they were selling them for $300 per person per day.
Crazy.
So I was just like, dang, that's a good deal we got from seeing the
So the fact that you paid a little bit more, like this isn't like a really budget hotel or anything, but the fact that you paid a little bit more for the hotel totally saved saved your money that you would have spent in either shuttling back and forth if you had been staying offsite somewhere, or in driving and parking at the resort, and definitely in the Fast Pass area.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. So that's good. Okay. So tell us about the parks and your favorite things and what you did and how you did it. Did you just start when they open and go all day, go, and then end when they close? Did you take breaks?
We tried.
Okay. So tell about that.
So, I mean, day one, like when we got to the hotel, it was 3:00 in the morning, right? And we're just exhausted.
Yeah.
But our goal was to wake up early and go into the early pass. So because it was a holiday weekend, they were open a little bit earlier than normal. But so we would have had to have been at the park at like 7:00 in the morning. And we meant to do that. By the time we woke up, it was 11:00 in Florida.
Right.
That didn't happen. You know, but it honestly was okay. Like we walked in, we got in, we took the shuttle over, we walked into the park and we just kind of did the tourist thing of, wow, look at this. This is cool. You know,
pause for just a second. Was this your first time going to Universal, or had you been?
It was.
Okay. So you hadn't been to California or Florida Universal at all?
No,
Okay.
this was our first time
All
at
right.
Universal.
Okay. Keep
So,
going.
and we just were kind of like, oh, wow, this is pretty cool, and we didn't really know what to expect. I mean, because we've been to the other parks, right?
Right.
But we hadn't been to anything like this. And we had heard that a lot of them were like the screen rides. And I was kind of like, that's going to be kind of boring, right? And then we went and got on the mummy ride. Oh my gosh. So fun. Like it was such an amazing ride. And it is a screen and it is like you're moving. And then we did, I think, oh god, what Transformers. We went on to that one, and my son loved that one. We went on it like 3 times, and we just kept going through the park. And everything that we rode was pretty amazing. There was one ride that we got off, and my son was like, "Well, that was dumb."
Kids, for total honesty, right?
Yeah. Well, and it lasted like if we didn't have the fast pass, we would have been in line for a very, very, very long time. And the ride only lasted like 15 seconds. So I think it was meant to be just like a little filler ride in the Harry Potter, not the Harry Potter land, but in the Diagon Alley area.
Right.
And I think, no, actually this is in Harry Potter land. I lied. I fibbed. But I think it's just meant to be like a filler ride, okay. Like a little tiny one. Okay. And so my son got off that and was like, well, that was dumb. But when we got over, we jumped on we went to the Diagon Alley, which was really fun. Of course, we bought the wand and the robes, and we did everything. And my son took the little wand around and all the interactive little fun things that he could turn on and all of that. Like he really thought that was fun. And some of them he could get to work, and some of them we couldn't. And he would watch somebody else get it to work. And
did he do the whole experience of seeing what house he's in and all of that stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he is. Bubba, do you remember what house you are? Slytherin. It's upstairs in my room. So yeah, he's a Slytherin.
And did he get his own personal wand, or did he want to have Harry's or Hermione's or Ron's or somebody's?
So he selected his wand, and he selected Peter's. Okay. So it's a little snake. And then for 3 days, we went looking on for Peter because he wanted, all of the gift shops. It took a minute for me to figure out different gift shops sell different things.
Okay. Yeah.
So it took me a minute to figure that out. But once when we figured it out, I finally went up to somebody and I was like, hey, which store can I buy Peter in? Which is the little rat. Yeah. And the kid's like, oh, Peter's naughty. He ran away. And I was like, okay, so does that mean he's not here, and I go to somewhere else?
Is it just this store, or
I was like, what are you trying to tell me? I was like, I'm like, okay, so can I still buy Peter? Can we catch him? So and that was probably the only. They don't stay in character. They don't really have characters. There's none walking around. Right. But the staff member was, obviously he was a Harry Potter fan and he was really cute. So, but we found out that they don't even make Peter. So Peter doesn't exist.
Bummer. So if anybody's going just for Peter.
Right. Because it's definitely this character that everybody's like, I want a Peter.
Right. You may want to lower your expectations a little bit.
Right. But we did get a sorting hat. We got a dobby. We got 9 wands. We've got 4 robes. We got, we got tons of stuff. Yeah. So, if you want it to be a budget friendly trip, stay out of Harry Potter land. Yeah.
Right. I agree with that because they do such an amazing job there.
They really do. And the butterbeer was delicious.
Oh, so good. So good.
Yeah, and we thought it had alcohol in it, so we didn't let Lincoln get one. Mm-hmm. And I was drinking, and Sam's like, let me taste it. And so I let my husband taste. He's like, that's really good. I don't even taste alcohol. And I was like, I don't think there's alcohol in this.
So did you eventually get one?
Yes, he did. Okay. He did. He didn't like it.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. I thought it was amazing when we had it.
Yeah, they were really good. They were really good. Yeah. But I'm naive. I saw beer and I was like, you can't drink that.
Exactly. Well, it never explains it in the book, so you never know. Okay. So of the two parks, did you do both? And I mean, we kind of touched on Harry Potter, but did you do the other side as well?
Yes.
Was it fun?
So when you're over there and you jump on the train ride, which is actually really cool, and they've got this little visual window, and it looks like you're on the train ride over to Hogwarts.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it was a really fun experience. The line to get onto the train, your fast pass does work for portions of it, but you're still in line for a very long time.
Okay.
So that was the one ride that we were in line for a pretty long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got over to Hogwarts, and that's where like the whole city is there. And I mean, they did a wonderful job of making it look like you're really in Harry Potter.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my son loved the castle ride. I think we went on it like 4 or 5 times. Which again, if you don't have the fast pass, you won't be doing that.
Okay, so clarify just a second with the fast pass. Now at Disney, if people are used to their fast pass, there are only certain rides that the fast pass works on. Is it the same at Universal?
It worked on everything except for there's a new ride that was supposed to launch on June 10th, and they did a pre-opening. It's called the Velociraptor. Super crazy, scary, holy scary.
Okay.
It's scary. Like if you have little tiny, like even though they're tall enough, no,
not so much.
But so it didn't work on that. They didn't have the fast pass open, and then it doesn't work on like anything with a virtual pass. So like the Haggard ride with the motorcycle and the side cart, which was personally my favorite ride in the entire park.
Mm-hmm.
It took us 4 days to get on it, 4 days of trying. And the virtual fast pass, I can tell you some tricks that we learned from staff to get it, because we literally tried for 3 days and we couldn't get on it. And then the 4th day we followed what the person said and we got on it twice.
So what did you do?
So the sneaky thing is the beginning of the park, when the park opens early, a lot of people will go and then run as soon as they open Adventureland, and they'll run to go get in line. But those people are still going to be in line for about 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So they told us, don't even bother. Don't do it. And then get the app on the phone, just the same as like what Disney has.
Right.
And then you go in and then you click I think it's called Mythical Creatures, I think is what the ride is called. I call it the Haggard ride. And you just go in and you click the virtual pass, and then eventually it will open. And when it opens and it shows you times, don't pick the first time and don't pick the last time. Pick one in the middle. And so then you just keep doing it. And my husband and I both did it at the same time. We both got a time, and so we went on it twice.
Fun.
But be prepared that you're still going to wait in a pretty long line. The first time that we went on, it was in the middle of the day. It was around, I think our pass was it was pretty close to 2:00. And we waited in line for probably about an hour and 30 minutes, even with the fast pass. So, and we skipped a lot of the line through, like because of that fast pass and the virtual line. But your fast pass doesn't work. So you still got to wait. But when we rode it that evening, and we got I think it was an 8:00 ride. I think we waited in line for about 20 minutes that time. Okay. So it was definitely faster towards the end of the night.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was kind of a different experience in the dark than it was in the day. So
kind of fun.
That ride was amazing. I loved that ride.
Yeah. And was that the only 2 times that you experienced it, or did you ever do it again?
Nope.
Okay.
We did it on day 4.
Day 4. So you did get in. That's great.
We did get in, yeah. But then the rest of the park was really cool. The details that goes into Dr. Seuss Land was really cool. The Toontown, there's just so many different elements. Jurassic World was amazing if you're a Jurassic Park fan. That new Velociraptor.
Yeah.
I think the ride it has to ride for 3 or 4 minutes, because my brain actually said, is this ride ever going to end?
Wow.
You get on a roller coaster and they're usually pretty quick. Mm-hmm. But it felt like it was going forever.
Like it was a while.
And then we finally stopped and we're pulling up to get off, and I looked at my watch and it said my heart rate was 151. So apparently I thought I was dying.
Yeah, you really were getting chased by velociraptors.
Well, I don't even remember, like they do put you in like the cage and there's Blue and then there's the trainers and, you know, like you're in Jurassic World, right? And they do a great job of telling that story when you're in the line. But once when you're on the ride, I didn't see anything.
Oh.
Like it was literally the fastest roller coaster I've ever been on. Like,
Wow.
like Cannibal, remember the first time Cannibal when we saw that when they were building it and we were like, what? Like, do you see that? It goes like, what?
Yeah.
And then when you get on it, I mean, it's a little scary, but it's still like you'll go on it again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this one I got off and I hit Sam in the arm and I was like, you wanted to take Lincoln on this?
Oh.
No, it was scary. And there was one part, I mean, I don't want to spoil the ride because they keep it very secretive of what's on it. But there was one part where it just speeds up dramatically. And I think I almost pooped my pants. So
very,
it was a very intense ride.
very intense. Yeah.
I mean, it was great. And I'm sure in a couple of months I'll be like, oh, it was wonderful. But right now I'm like, nope, never going on it again.
One of those. It was a one-time experience.
Yeah.
So.
But Sam loved it and he would go on it over and over and over. He thought it was great, but
that's good. That's good. But Lincoln did not go on it.
He did not go on it.
Okay. Probably for the best.
Yes.
So, okay. So I think we're kind of in, wrap up mode here, but if there's anything like we didn't touch on, or for sure, maybe just some final thoughts, anything that you would do the same or differently or whatever next time you went, or recommendations for other people.
Well, I think the one thing that I would do differently is I probably wouldn't rent a car.
Okay.
We didn't use it at all. So, I mean, we drove from the hotel, or from the airport to the hotel, and then from the hotel back to the airport. That was it. So, we had a 4-day rental car and it just sat in the parking lot.
Right.
But our original expectation was that we were going to drive down to the beach. And we just never did that. We did go to Volcano Bay, which was included. So we did all 3 parks. Volcano Bay looks amazing and it's wonderful, but I was really, really, really greatly disappointed with Volcano Bay, and I probably will never go back, even if I have a 3-day hopper.
And why were you disappointed? What was
so they give you the virtual line pass for you, a wristwatch for you to wear, and you can go and get in a virtual line, and it will tell you we'll see you back in 155 minutes, right?
Right.
But the terrible thing is when you're in a virtual line, you can't get in another virtual line. So it's one at a time, and there's literally nothing to do
while you're waiting.
So you can't go ride any of the other water slides. You can't. So basically we just went in the lazy river. They have 2 different lazy rivers. And we just went in that a couple of times. We grabbed, our $30 hot dogs and
right.
So I mean, it looks really cool. I mean, it's amazing. And the water slides that we did go on were super fun. Once when you actually got to get up there, but it just wasn't a great experience for me, and it wasn't worth it.
Right. A lot of waiting just for not a whole lot of experience.
Yeah. And also I would also rent one of those cars the next time I go. One of the little carts to drive around the park. Oh, that one was miserable. It was terrible.
Yeah, your feet hurt so bad by the end of the day. You're just done.
Yeah, I think the park should sell those like Dr. Scholl's or whatever that go in your shoes. They should sell those at the park.
Yeah, they totally should. They should have that in like the first gift shop as you walk into the park. Like
you're going to want these, and here's some ibuprofen.
Just to get you through your day.
Yeah. But I mean, one thing that we really did love, and I forgot to mention, was a restaurant inside of the park.
Okay.
So it was in Adventureland. Oh goodness. I don't know what land it was in. It's kind of like an Egyptian type style.
Okay.
I don't know. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And they have like a world-renowned like goddess restaurant that's in there.
Okay.
And we just happened to get in there without a reservation, which is really like, we just had dumb luck.
Mm-hmm.
We just had dumb luck. So the restaurant opens at 11 o'clock and they were so booked. They took 5 people without reservations. And we happened to be one of the first ones in line. So it was pretty dumb luck. But the food was really, really, really great. And we sat inside, but the view of the whole park was amazing. It was over the water. I mean, it was, I don't know if you've eaten there, but it was really good.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Honestly, Barb, like you did such a wonderful job of taking my expectations and just blowing them out of the water. And you always do amazing trips for us. So we're so grateful for what you do. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, it's good to talk to you as always, Shae. We talk often, but it's great to talk to you. And thank you so, so much for telling us all about your amazing experience at Universal. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Thanks for sending us on a great trip.
Yes, you bet. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks for joining me today. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like, share, subscribe, or leave a review. If you'd like to contact me about a vacation, the best way is to visit my website, sweetdreamstravel.net. To connect on social media, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, or LinkedIn. See you next time.